Another day, another Tubi mess express, but it's actually a really good one. Cynthia, a stylist, visits her sister, Shirley, who lets Cynthia borrow a vintage suitcase for a project. While Cynthia is getting the suitcase from the basement, the suitcase opens and letters fall out of it. Curious, she reads them. When Shirley sees Cynthia with the letters, she explains that a few years after her husband Robert died, Robert's mistress Barbara gave her the suitcase, claiming that she and Robert were in love and showing her the letters as proof. When Shirley says she only read one and refuses to read more, Cynthia urges her to read all of the letters and hands her a specific one. Reading the letter, Shirley is shocked to learn about Erin, Robert's daughter with Barbara. Shirley firmly refuses to tell her daughter, Angela, about Erin, thinking it's for the best. When Angela arrives with Cynthia's daughter, Noelle, Cynthia forces Shirley to tell Angela the truth. Angela's flabbers were gasted. Later, while checking on Angela, who's struggling to process the shocking revelation, Noelle suggests finding Erin through social media. Erin tirelessly works at a bar, willingly taking extra shifts her boss, Portia, asked her to. Portia got major cakes. When Erin gets home, she sees her mother, Barbara, drunk, so Erin urges her to get a job so she can help pay the bills.
Little girl, you think you better than me?
Yes, 'cause you dusty. The next day, Angela checks on Shirley, who shares that Barbara left the suitcase but didn't mention anything about a child. Later, Angela informs Noelle that she's going to find Erin, but not inform her mom. Noelle disagrees, saying Shirley should know about her search. At the bar, Portia asks Erin to keep an eye out for one of their customers, Jason, who's with a man named Rick. She says Jason always gets involved in trouble, and he's constantly in and out of jail. At home, Barbara checks on Erin, who immediately shuts her mama down, thinking she only wants to ask for money again. Erin reminds her that Barbara has always neglected her because Barbara prioritized getting dick down. The childbearing hips, Barbara apologizes, but Erin rejects her apology. Unbeknownst to Barbara, Erin has more than $2,000 savings in her bedside drawer. Meanwhile, Angela finds Erin on social media and messages her. Because of this, Erin asks Barbara if Robert ever mentioned having other children, pointing out the possibility given that Robert didn't live with them. Barbara says he didn't, and that she's Robert's only child. 2 weeks later, Angela shares with Noelle that she and Erin are getting along. She adds that Erin is 2 years older and was 8 years old when Robert died. When she shares that they're meeting for brunch the next day, Noelle urges her to inform her mom, but Angela fears Shirley will get upset. Angela reluctantly fills Shirley in on what's happening, upsetting Shirley. Noelle intervenes, saying it was her idea to find Erin, making Shirley feel even more betrayed by her family. Erin tells Portia about Angela and shares that Robert died from a car accident. She assumes Robert was living a double life, keeping the truth from both families. When Erin gets home, she finds Barbara talking to 2 cops because of a break-in. She rushes to her bedside table, only to discover that her savings have been stolen. Barbara tells her that she left the house unlocked while going to the store, making Erin more furious. We already know the dusty Barbara took her daughter's money. Stressed out, Shirley hangs out with Cynthia while she's working. Shirley gets loud because she doesn't want her daughter hanging out with a random girl. When Cynthia tells her to keep her voice down because the clients can hear her, Shirley says,
You are not a real stylist. You work on low-budget projects.
Shirley is like Kirky Minaj with that wig and colored contacts. At brunch, Erin shares that Robert and Barbara were never married. Robert didn't live with them, but he took good care of them and made sure they lived comfortably until his death. When Erin asks if they struggled financially too after Robert's death, Angela truthfully shares that they didn't because Shirley inherited Robert's estate. This silences Erin, who gets annoyed when she is informed that her card has declined. Angela pays Erin's share, saying she understands it's a struggle to keep up with money, prompting Erin to angrily respond that she knows nothing about struggle because she has a trust fund. Erin then storms out of the restaurant. Later, when Angela shares this with Noelle, Noelle deduces that Barbara was probably the side hoe. Angela realizes that Erin probably feels slighted because of this. Through Erin's social media, Angela learns where Erin works, and she visits her there. Erin apologizes for what happened at the restaurant, saying she's been dealing with a lot lately. Angela and Aaron grow closer to each other and they start hanging out more. Angela even brings Aaron home, and every time Shirley sees Aaron, she's reminded of her big back husband bending Barbara over. But Shirley tries so hard not to kick Aaron out. Shirley visits Barbara.
Wow. I can't believe you still live in this raggedy-ass house. You could have at least invested in it. Or yourself.
Shirley informs her about Angela and Aaron's growing bond. She orders Barbara to keep Aaron away from Angela, offers to get her house from getting foreclosed, and says Barbara owes her, forcing Barbara to agree. It turns out Shirley knew about Aaron for a long time and has been trying to keep the sisters apart. Calculated. That's why you can't trust blonde black women. While Angela, Aaron, and Noelle are hanging out in Angela's bedroom, Angela hands out swab kits, suggesting that they take swab samples for DNA testing. She thinks this will help confirm if they have other siblings, so all three of them do it. Later that night, Aaron recognizes Barbara's handwriting in one of the letters addressed to Shirley. Upon reading it, Aaron learns that Shirley knew about her and that Barbara asked Shirley for financial assistance, but Shirley refused. Aaron storms out of the house, and Angela confronts Shirley for knowing about Aaron the whole time. Shirley argues that it wasn't easy for her to help the woman with whom Robert cheated on her and their daughter, but Angela still thinks that what she did was wrong. When Shirley says she gave them a house, Angela argues that she could have given them a better house. Shirley reveals that Barbara was a secretary at Robert's real estate office when Robert started to give Barbara his seed and got pregnant. Shirley then went to the office to write Barbara a check in exchange for coat hangering the baby. Barbara was willing to take it and leave the job, but somebody whom Shirley assumes was Robert talked her out of it. But one day Robert suddenly cut Barbara off and then he died. Later, Jason visits Aaron's house and gives Aaron some money since she lost $2,000. When Barbara arrives, Jason leaves and Barbara angrily asks Aaron why he visited, saying death follows him. Annoyed, Aaron tells her that Jason gave her money because they can't pay their bills. A week later, Aaron still doesn't talk to Angela, so Noelle suggests that Angela visit her. At around 9:30 p.m., Angela tells Shirley she's visiting Aaron at the bar she works at and leaves. Aaron gets annoyed that Angela shows up unannounced again, but they quickly reconcile. Unfortunately, as Angela and Aaron are about to leave the property, two hooded figures kidnap them. Shirley awakens at 4 a.m. and gets increasingly nervous after learning that Angela hasn't come home yet and that she's not answering her phone. Panicking, Shirley calls Cynthia, who recalls that Angela and Noelle share locations. One of the kidnappers beats Angela, who keeps trying to fight back. The kidnappers then separate the sisters, locking Angela in a small cell. Noelle leads Shirley and Cynthia to the bar, and they find Angela's car with its doors left open. Noelle quickly calls the cops to report Angela missing. Angela hears one of the kidnappers ask Aaron where his money is, and Aaron says she doesn't know what he's talking about. Angela screams and begs them not to hurt Aaron, telling them that she has money, but to no avail. Shirley, Cynthia, and Noelle are escorted to the police station.
Are you a waiter or a detective?
When Barbara arrives, she gets into a confrontation with Shirley, both blaming the other's daughter for what happened. Unbeknownst to Angela, Aaron is the mastermind of the kidnapping. The kidnappers are Jason and Rick. While Angela is so worried about Aaron uses makeup to make it look like she has bruises. Aaron then hands Jason a burner phone and instructs him to force Angela to talk. He immediately goes to Angela's cell and takes a video of her for ransom. While Jason just calmly follows Aaron's orders, Rick, who doesn't like Aaron, plans on eliminating her after they get the money. Rick suggests letting Aaron lead, and then they'll shoot her in the head when she least expects it, and Jason agrees. That's why you can never trust a jealous broke sister. After Cynthia sends Noelle home, Shirley gets a call from Jason, who asks for $150,000 each for both sisters by midnight. Since Shirley has put the call on speaker, Cynthia, Barbara, and Detective Ian hear the kidnapper's voice. After the call, Shirley refuses to pay for Aaron and keeps on insulting Barbara. But Cynthia volunteers to pay for Aaron's share and asks her to stop because they have no time to waste. Barbara, who has gone quiet, tells Ian that she recognizes the kidnapper's voice, saying it's Jason. She tearfully shares that Aaron knows Jason and deduces that they're working together. Although she doesn't know if he's capable of murder, she knows Jason won't hurt Aaron. Shirley realizes it's a scheme to get money from her and Angela and calls Barbara and Aaron both money guzzlers and desperate. Barbara tells her she would have stopped Aaron if she knew, but Shirley refuses to work with Barbara since she can't trust her. Barbara then refuses to talk to Ian, demanding that he find Aaron before storming out. One of the cops learns that Ian was the first to respond during Robert's accident, which Ian confirms. She then informs Ian that Jason had been involved with petty theft and a gun charge. She adds that when Jason was on trial for murder a year ago, the eyewitness was found dead the day before he was supposed to testify, and a female suspect was seen fleeing the scene. Because of this, they suspect it might have been Aaron, and they check on her alibi. At home, Cynthia blames Shirley, saying none of it would have happened if she had been truthful from the beginning. Barbara arrives and apologizes to Shirley for hoeing around with her husband, and Shirley accepts her apology. Ian arrives and informs Shirley and Barbara that they're looking into the different angles of the case. After Shirley walks away, Ian confronts Barbara about Aaron, reminding her that she slept with him and Robert at the same damn time. When he asks her if Aaron is his daughter, she says no. Damn, Barbara got around. Jason calls Shirley again and instructs her to bring the money inside the building alone. Jason then eliminates Reek, and Angela hears the shot. Shirley arrives at the location with Barbara while the cops are on standby. Meanwhile, acting like a victim again, Aaron frantically saves Angela from her cell. While they're escaping, Angela notices that Aaron doesn't have a bruise anymore, prompting Aaron to knock her out. Later, Angela wakes up to Jason pointing a gun at her, while Shirley and Barbara run towards them. The mothers give Aaron the money, but Aaron angrily confronts them for keeping her from living a comfortable life, especially because she's Robert's eldest daughter. Aaron wants to kill both mothers, but before Jason can pull the trigger, the cops arrive and arrest them. Aaron gives her mom a death stare before walking away. Soon, Ian checks on Shirley, who shuts him down. She says she appreciates him getting rid of Robert for her and helping her save Angela, but she's not giving her kitty to him ever again. Tubi always giving us last-minute twists. In prison, Aaron receives the letter Robert wrote to Barbara, confronting her for lying to him. The letter shows that Robert found out through the blood test results for the insurance policy that Aaron was not his daughter, and it was the reason he abandoned them. Meanwhile, at Shirley's house, Angela receives her DNA test result and reads it in front of Noelle, Shirley, and Cynthia. Shocked, she shares that the results say that Aaron is not her sister, but Noelle is, meaning Shirley's sister slept with her Robert. Cynthia quickly tries to de-escalate the situation, but Shirley slaps Cynthia.
You dirty ass whore!
Shirley kicks her out of her house and disowns her. This should be called Twister, because the way I was discombobulated after all of the twists, from hating the blonde Nicki Minaj to then rooting for Shirley. Angela and Noelle were the only good people in this movie. What did you guys think of this one?
Did you guys enjoy that one? Make sure to subscribe and keep watching for more. I won't judge. You can click here or here.